Well, welcome back to the podcast, Conversations with Jeff Bucknam. Dr. Jeff Bucknam is the lead teaching pastor of Harvest Bible Chapel. And today we're going to have a conversation with someone whom we like very much, but we're going to get into that in just a second because we've got another conversation that we're going to be having.
It's with you.
With me and you.
Yeah, well,
us together.
No, you were just telling us a story about how you have, in the little town that you grew up in.
Yes.
Wilmot,
Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. There were 60 people and 5 bars.
Yes.
And you have friends who were dating but didn't realize they were cousins.
Yes, that's a real thing.
Also, you guys do a lot of ice. You said that you do a lot of ice fishing.
We do, yeah. So actually,
talk me through the ice fishing.
So if you ever want to fish, if you're around the Chicagoland area and you're like, wow, there's not really any places to fish here. Southeastern Wisconsin
has a lot of bars.
And
cousins
and
ice
fish fry. Okay, fish fry. But that's like a derivative of the fact that there's lots of places to fish. There's a lot of lakes, and they're really great lakes to fish, especially if you like crappie, bluegill.
I like what?
Crappie?
Nah, I don't know what that is.
Stop it.
Nah.
Wow.
Dude, I'm from the Pacific Northwest. We have real fish.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. Like from the ocean?
Yeah, like salmon and trout. Yeah, that kind of like real fish.
We have those too.
Sturgeon.
Yeah, I don't know if we have sturgeon, but we do have. We 100% have salmon and trout.
Okay.
In the rivers, so fly fishing is a big. Is a big thing in Wisconsin as well.
Ice fishing.
Ice fishing.
Talk me through the ice fishing.
Yeah. Okay. So there are levels to ice fishing, right? So you can really the only gear that you need is a small pole, which doesn't cost a lot. You can get that from Gander Mountain, and bibs. Which do you know what bibs are?
Yeah, they're. I'm assuming they're
not like the baby bib. Like
no, they're like what are they?
Like overalls,
suspender things. Yeah.
Overalls and a jacket for your to stay very warm. And essentially, what you could do is you have an auger, which is a thing that allows you to drill a hole into the ice.
Yeah. But you don't have to. It doesn't need to be a big hole.
No, it's just it's probably about 6 inches, maybe, maybe enough for your foot to go through it.
Okay,
so you go watch out where you're walking on the ice. And then you have a bucket, and you flip the bucket over, and you sit on the bucket.
Do you have a little hut that you're in?
You can. So that's another level. So that's another level of dedication.
So you're talking about like the beginner level of ice fishing.
Beginner level. That's all you need.
So all I need is an auger,
a bucket, and a pole. Yeah, and warm clothes. Preferably.
And what will I catch? What do you use for bait for the?
Yeah, there's unlimited
what
amounts.
What do you use?
Yeah, it depends what I'm fishing for. Minnows typically is what I'll use like on a. So okay, we're going all the way. Are you ready?
Oh, Tommy, I'm ready.
Okay, so there's other levels, and then we'll talk about what those are for. So you've got then the person who has a portable ice shanty. Okay.
Is anybody worried about how deep this is going to go?
We're going all the way down the rabbit hole of ice fishing. I'm going to make sure you know everything there is.
There's an ice shanty. You can get an ice shanty.
An ice shanty. You could a portable one in which you pull onto the lake, and then you pop it up, and it's,
You dragged it with your car there.
Yeah, well, if it's 7 inches or more on the ice, if there's 7 inches of ice or more.
Okay. How do you know?
You have to measure it. There's a measuring tool that you can measure the ice. Then you can drive your truck on the ice.
Oh.
Yeah, 7 inches or more.
Okay.
Fun fact, everyone. So, but if not, then you put it in the bed of your truck, you pull it out, and then you pull that onto the ice. You walk with it. It's like a sled.
Okay.
And then
so you're dragging your little shanty hut.
Yeah. And then you pop it up.
You pop it up.
Put the holes.
Got it.
Lines up with the shanty.
Yeah. And then
you can stay warm because you have a heater in there, and it's a very nice experience, right? Then
does
there's the people.
Melt the ice?
It does not. Well, yes, but it takes a very long time. Yeah, very. I mean, you have to be out there for days.
Okay.
So then you have people who have permanent shanties. So these are people who basically roll out small homes onto the ice. They have to have permits on them and everything. Yeah, they stay out there for the whole winter.
So can you use one?
Yeah, well, if you own it, yeah. You lock it up, of course. Like, you own.
Why wouldn't you just, like, swim into it? Just kidding. Well, that would be great.
Yeah, well, you could. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Like a buoy. Like, it's all just floating. So, there's only a certain amount of fishing that takes place in the shanty. These are smaller fish like bluegill and crappie and perch,
Yeah, the crappie.
The crappie, yeah. Have you never, walleye, have you not had crappie?
No.
Okay, it's a delicious fish. We're going to have to go and get it. I'll take you to a really good fish fry.
No, you're going to take me to ice fishing.
I'll take you there too. And then we'll fillet it right on the ice. Cook it up. Boom.
Okay.
Bada bing. You know how to play cribbage?
This is a whole world
that I
do not know
It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And so there's all of that. Then, but the real fishing happens not inside the shanty, but outside with tip-ups. So a tip-up.
What's a tip-up?
You go around your shanty in like some sort of circumference, and you drill holes. You typically with an electric one. That's how you know you're a real deal. If you got to sit out there doing the
if you use a hand auger, that's a bad thing.
Well, it just you're bad relatively
amateur.
Yeah, right. Well, or you're trying to work out. And so then you take tip-ups and you put them in those holes. Now you put bigger minnows on those tip-ups for bigger fish. So northern pike, muskie.
What's a tip-up?
A tip-up is it comes in several different ones. There's like the igloo tip-up, which is a circle. And then you also have another one that's wooden, and it is just a wooden plank with a flag on top of it with line, like a reel, like almost like what a fishing reel would be without the long pole.
Okay.
So it's got the
got it. It's like
the reel and the line. And so then you drop that line with that tip up down deep into the water with a bigger, bait, such as a larger minnow, so that you could get the northern pike and the muskies. These are the big boys.
Okay, so if you went out and you were fishing with me, what would you expect to catch? How much?
Well, you would probably catch a fair amount of crappies,
like it's pretty guaranteed though. I'm going to catch
No, it's never guaranteed.
So you could be sitting out on the ice and have nothing.
Correct. But that's rare though. Depends on how many hours you want to give to it, what time we go, all of that matters. So I would say we would catch.
What's the best time to go?
In the evening is always really great.
When it's getting colder?
Morning, yeah. But you're inside. So literally,
no, I'm not. I'm not going to be inside. I don't have
well, if we went together, you would be
a crappie.
You would be inside a tip up or a crappie. We would have a Mr. Heater. We would actually we would not be in like our like bibs or anything like that. We would be in just probably what we're wearing right now.
Don't have
it's
a bib.
That hot inside. Right. But then when a tip up goes off, so when a fish catches it, runs with it, it launches the flag up, and you usually put lights on it just in case it gets dark. Then the most incredible thing happens, and that is that no matter what you're wearing, what level of undress you're in, like how many layers you've taken off, you sprint out to that tip up. You don't put on your boots.
Why would I be in a level of undress?
Because it gets.
What are you guys doing out there?
It gets really hot, so you take off your layers. I'm not saying like
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like this, but even like this, you would then sprint out of the ice shanty towards that tip up, no matter what you're wearing.
Okay.
Because it's time, and you have to pull up that fish, and it might be a gigantic northern pike.
How big is a gigantic northern pike?
I mean, over 32 inches.
Wow.
It's bigger.
Big fish.
In a lake, it's not the ocean, but
wow.
We do what we can. Anyway.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Ice Fishing by Tommy Creutz.
I feel like this was really informative for people.
It was. Speaking of ice fishing, the guest we're going to have today has never done it.
Has never? No, not one time?
Never.
Have you ever heard of it before?
No, okay. She's giving a thumbs up. Yeah. She's heard of ice fishing before.
Perfect.
She herself, she talks a lot, a good crappie.
Yep, a good crappie. Man, we're going to go to a fish fry, and we're going to enjoy some. I'm going to win you. I'm winning you over.
I am game.
I'm winning you over to it.
Absolutely.
You know what they say?
That'll be the Conversations with Jeff Bucknam podcast field trip that we take.
Yeah, when we go off-site.
We'll do live broadcasting from the hole.
I've got on the ice.
Yeah. Yes. And we'll interview some.
My dad. Oh, it'd be perfect. He tucks in his pants to his shirt to his pants. It's incredible, and slicks back his hair. Okay. It'll be a great time. All right. Perfect. Well, let's have a great conversation. That was informative, but this is going to be an even better conversation coming up with Ashlynn Fatigato, who is the student ministry coordinator and a couple of other things, right? For the Rolling Meadows campus, children's and weekend services, lots of things. And so she's incredible, and I'm so excited to hear the conversation that you guys are going to have right now. So
everybody's got a story.
Everyone's got a story, and she does too. And so let's get into it right now.
Hello. What? You're not supposed to start. So here I am with Ashlyn Gamanadgababadaga. Ashlyn, what's your last name?
Fatigato.
Spell it.
Fatigato.
Fatigato.
It's Italian.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you come from a long line of Italian folk?
My dad's side, yeah, but we don't really speak Italian.
Not at all.
No, which
You don't know any Italian at all, even though your family.
I know a little bit.
Okay, hit me with some.
Oh, no, I can only like if someone on my dad's side would say something, I might understand.
Oh, really?
Just more like food,
Grazie.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Pretty much.
You know food? I know some Italian food words too.
I know lots of Italian food.
Lasagna. So Ashlyn, okay, so Tommy introduced you.
Yeah.
And talked a little bit about what you do here at Harvest, but just before we get into the stories about Ashlyn and her life, I'm interested to know what your particular role here is at the present moment.
At the present moment, student ministry coordinator at Rolling Meadows. And then I also handle...
What does that mean?
So basically, all administrative / random tasks required for junior high and high school students.
So that would be like a lot of pizza purchasing.
Yeah.
Oriental trading, ordering.
Yeah. It's pretty much Amazon these days because that hub is right next door to Meadows.
I was going to say, you could probably get stuff within the hour.
Oh, and I have. If I order by like 11 a.m., sometimes it's there by 4.
Wow.
But yeah, pretty much just work with the guys, whatever they need.
Okay. And then you have other parts of your job.
Yes. Also weekend service teams. So I coordinate all of our volunteers for weekend services. My first year working here, I also worked Harvest Kids. So I had essentially 2 jobs, and then they condensed it to 1, which was very kind. So.
Wow. Did you like Harvest Kids?
I did.
Okay. Was that what are you doing right now? What you thought you wanted to do at Harvest when you first began?
Pretty much. Before I was hired on staff full time, I was an intern for student ministry.
Okay.
So knew that I wanted to do student ministry, but at the time, there was only like a part-time position open for student ministry. So the 2 directors of HK and students were like, you could do both and we can make it 20 and 20 and you'll be here for 40 hours. And I was like, sweet.
Deal.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Ashlyn, where are you from?
I right around here. I grew up in Des Plaines, Illinois, about 25 minutes.
Do you find it odd that they call it Des Plaines? Because that DES is day.
I know.
Right?
Like people say like Des Moines,
Plaines.
Iowa, and then we're Des Plaines.
Des Moines.
I don't know.
Des Moines, Iowa.
Yeah. It's a okay place to live.
Where is? Oh, everybody knows where that is. I don't know where it is.
It's right by O'Hare, so 8 minutes away.
Okay. What is unique about being from Des Plaines?
It's where the first McDonald's.
No.
Yeah, so we still have like the historic first one across the street.
I live near the most historic, the first McDonald's.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what have I been doing?
Yeah.
Okay,
and
I'm going to Des Plaines so I can see the McDonald's.
Yeah. That's pretty much its landmark, I guess.
How often did you go to this McDonald's?
Not a lot.
Not a lot when you growing up? Okay, so what your family, what you got?
Yeah, I have an older sister, older brother, and then I have a twin sister. We're the youngest.
Oh, twins. So older brother is how much older than you?
He's actually only 13 months older.
Wait, 13 months and then twins?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
We were surprised, and then there was 2.
You weren't as surprised as your mom was surprised, because holy smokes, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, he was born in August. We were born in September, so it was pretty fast.
And how old is the...
And then our sister is 4 years older than my twin and I, and then 3 years older than our brother. So 4 and 4.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
They still live around here?
Yeah, my whole family actually. My twin sister and my brother both live in the city, kind of like Logan Square. And then my older sister and her husband and my nephew live in Lake Zurich, which is
I actually know that we shop in Lake Zurich a little bit.
Yeah, Deer Park.
I know that area a little bit.
Yeah.
So you grew up a twin.
I did.
Okay, lots of questions now about twins.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever do the old switcheroo?
No, we always say, so we're super fraternal. Like.
Okay, so you don't look the same.
People know we're sisters. She has darker hair. She's like 3 inches taller. She looks like my dad. and my mom and I look more just like my dad. So people knew we were sisters, but we never got to do the cool twin switcheroo.
So you didn't really get the fun parts of the twin.
No, which,
Having everybody mistake you for your sister.
People it's still really cool, but it wasn't
Who's
like
older?
Mary Kate and Ashley.
You or her?
Me? I'm actually 2 hours and 15 minutes older.
That's right, you are.
Which is like a double fun fact. People are like, you're a twin, and I'm like 2 hours
Ashlyn, there's
older.
a lot that happened in those 2 hours, 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Nations rise and fall in that kind of time.
I guess so.
So what year were you born then?
1994.
Oh, my word.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated from college in 1994.
Wow, that's 27 years ago.
Either you're really young or I'm really old.
I feel young.
Okay, so do you consider yourself a child? No, you wouldn't be a 90s child, though. I mean, you wouldn't consider yourself a child of the 90s. You're more of the 2000s.
I don't know. I mean, whenever I see like tweets or memes about 90s kids, I feel like I relate.
Okay.
But I guess I was more of like a 90s baby.
Yeah.
2000s kid.
Okay.
Right?
Right. You'd be right into the, you'd be right into Barney.
Yeah.
When you were a little kid, you watch Barney?
I do remember it, yeah.
Didn't love it?
No. I mean, there was altogether four of us, so we kind of, I feel like, had a lot of entertainment outside of TV.
Didn't watch a lot of TV.
Like why would we?
Okay. What did your parents do for work?
Yep. My mom is actually a hairstylist.
Oh,
Has been a hairstylist my whole life, which is nice. Free haircuts and colors. And then my dad has worked at the same company, UPS, for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. What does he do there?
For a long time, he was a truck driver.
Yeah.
And he's kind of done some logistics and stuff, but yeah.
That's
kind
great.
of blue collar, both my parents.
Grew up in a blue collar family.
Sure did.
As a twin in Des Plaines,
yeah.
Chicago.
Kind
area.
of, I feel like most of my friends growing up, we all kind of had parents who did the same similar thing, which was fun to relate to them in that way. But Des Plaines is
this a Christian family you grew up in?
No, actually. So we were raised Catholic. And then I had a couple of friends. So I went to public school my whole life, but had two friends whose parents or dads were pastors. Oh, yeah. Actually, one was at Harvest, and then one was in Des Plaines.
And you knew them from school?
Knew them from school. And my parents actually got divorced when I was 8.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But in the cool kind of providence there, those two families actually took care of my twin sister and I a lot. Like if my mom couldn't pick us up from school, or if it wasn't our dad's weekend, whatever, we were at both of those houses a lot. So got discipled pretty young that way. And then I got saved in high school.
Do you remember going to Catholic church when you were young?
Yes. Yeah.
What are your memories of it? Because when I had friends who were Catholic, I didn't really, we went to church on Sundays, my family, but never to a Catholic church. And so I'd go sometimes with my friends because my parents were like, yeah, it counts. Right? Catholic, doesn't matter. So I just remember going there and never knowing when you're supposed to stand up or sit down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was the hardest part for me.
You'll love this. This is a funny story from my family. So my older brother, he's actually deaf, born deaf.
Oh, wow.
So we all know sign language. But the Catholic church that I went to growing up with my family the priest was actually deaf. It was like a deaf community church.
Wow.
They went, it was pretty much for my brother. But every time people's like, what's the Catholic church like? I'm like, well, I went to a church where the priest was deaf. And some of the ladies who sang hymns and like would hit the drums were like hard of hearing or deaf. So like anything that you could think of as like a standard Catholic church,
that wasn't
happening at us at our church. So yeah,
that's funny.
But yeah, the standing up and not knowing what to do at certain times.
So did you know sign language from like very early on?
Yeah, from probably when I was 3. My parents went to like an institute and learned sign language as soon as they found out about my brother, and then they taught us.
That's great.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Do you use it much now? I mean, other than with your brother?
I don't get to use it as much as I would like to. When I see his friends or when I see him, or like sometimes in public with my family, if we don't want to say something out loud, we'll just sign to each other.
Oh, so this is like you're Italian.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, so it's like I don't speak Italian, but I know sign language.
You know sign language. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can do the secret stuff in front of other people.
Truly.
So tell me about yourself when you were young. What kinds of things did Ashlyn like to do?
I was pretty energetic as a child. Had a lot of energy. So I have memories of being pretty insane. But I enjoyed playing soccer, played most of my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your position in soccer?
So I played outside mid.
Yes.
Yeah, and my sister played the other side. She
in some settings they would call those wingers. Is that not what you were?
Yeah,
Is this
essentially.
more of a setup where you played midfield?
Midfield. Yeah.
So more of the inside guys.
Yeah. I played on one side, my sister played on the other.
And what was your best skill? Were you like a defensive destroyer?
Yeah, I was a bit more on the defensive side.
You just like to tackle people, take them down, go in studs up.
Regrettably now, yeah. Growing up, I thought that was awesome. I look back now and I'm like, oh, Ashlyn, what were you doing?
Are you really competitive?
Kind of. I wasn't actually very good at soccer, honestly.
Well, you don't really need to be great at soccer to be like a defensive midfielder. You just have to go and kick people.
I think that was my strength. Yeah, I had a lot of energy. I was okay with running back and forth.
Yeah.
I let my sister handle most of the
skill related stuff. You were the enforcer.
Yeah.
That's
pretty
great.
Much. Yeah.
That's great. You played your whole life. You
pretty much
years and years and years, all the way through high school.
Yeah, I played 2 years in college too.
Oh my word!
But I wasn't good. It was a tiny Christian college. I think they just needed bodies, and I was like, sweet, I'll help.
Still counts.
Yeah.
Soccer? Did you play other sports or piano or?
I never played an instrument. I tried to learn piano, but didn't have enough patience. Truly.
Do you play any musical instrument?
No, I wish that I did, but it was mainly sports. We played softball for a while.
Oh yeah.
Per my dad's request.
Is he a big baseball guy?
He is. My brother played baseball. But then we kind of just enjoyed soccer more. Yeah. And then he loved watching us, but I think deep in his heart, he was like, come on.
Totally.
Softball.
Right, but you were a soccer player.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. So you came to faith in Christ when you were in, was it early high school or high school kind of generally?
Yeah, when I was 16. So going into my junior year. Actually, yeah, it was Bring a Friend night at Harvest. And then that same friend that I grew up with had brought us to Harvest over the years. And then for whatever reason, I had heard the gospel a lot, knew a lot of...
Why had you heard the gospel a lot? Where had you?
Over the years at Awana and...
so you went to stuff like that?
Yeah, so they would bring us, if we were at their house on a Wednesday, they're like, well, you have to come to church. And we were like, okay. Yeah. So I knew a lot of the Bible, but never actually knew why it was important for me. And then there was a pretty clear gospel message on Bring Your Friend night. And then my sister Alyssa and I actually stood up same moment back at Cornerstone at Rolling Meadows.
Wow.
Gave her life to Jesus. Yeah.
And you work there now.
And I work there now.
That is an amazing story. So here you are, somebody who basically came to faith in Christ at the church, continued on in discipleship, and now you're an employee of the church working in ministry, full-time ministry.
Mm-hmm. And I spend every Sunday night in that exact room, which is pretty cool.
Is that weird for you ever? Or do you don't really think about it now?
It's like been a part of my life now for like 12 years that it just is pretty natural. But I do have moments like in worship, or if I'm like leading a game at the front where I see a student in the same kind of spot where I stood up. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I think sometimes they're like, why is Ashlyn staring at me? And I'm like, I'm just remembering the special moment. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I had neighbors just live down the street from me when I was young, and with my family, kind of nominal Christian, but they were really committed Christian people. And same thing. I used to go and stay at their house from time to time. I think they absolutely viewed me as the kid up the street who needed to know Jesus. Yeah. And that was a significant part of my reason I'm a Christian today. Yeah. Which is amazing how God places these people in our paths, right? Mm-hmm. And then also the openness that people like your neighbor, like, you know what I mean? That they have to include somebody like you into their life. Mm-hmm. And you never know where it's going to be. My father-in-law actually he became a Christian because there was a little old lady in their he lived on a place called Vashon Island just outside of Seattle. It's off the coast. And she used to pick him up in the morning for Sunday school. Yeah. She's this like older lady, and she would drive him every week to Sunday school. I mean, he grew up in a family that's pretty dysfunctional, and so he was, and you just never know, right? You never know how the effect that's going to have on people. Yeah, even years later. So yeah. So you went to college.
Yes. Little tiny Christian college called Cornerstone University.
Ooh, so you came to faith in Christ at Cornerstone?
Yeah.
And then you went to Cornerstone University, and your favorite song is Cornerstone?
I do like Cornerstone,
See?
but it's not my favorite song.
Okay.
We did sing it a lot at Cornerstone, though, which was funny.
Which Cornerstone?
Cornerstone University.
Not the Cornerstone. Okay.
Not the Cornerstone in Rolling Meadows. Yeah.
I almost worked for a church called Cornerstone once.
Yeah, see, it's
There's
everywhere.
so many cornerstones, but only one real cornerstone, right, Ashlyn?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, Jeff. Yeah.
Are you, by the way, for those of you who are wondering, Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus is who I'm referring to. So you went to college at this little place called Cornerstone. Was it like a Baptist school or some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it started as Grand Rapids Baptist, like, I don't know how many years ago, 70, 80.
Why did you choose to go to this school?
Yeah, it's super random. So since I had gotten saved at 16, I was like, man, I feel like the right thing to do would be to go somewhere where I can learn about God and more about the Bible and, you know, what it means to be a Christian, whatever. And my sister and I were like, we're not going to the same school. We're finally going to get some freedom from each other. So she chose Indiana Wesleyan, which I kind of thought I wanted to go to too, but because
And then she stole it from you.
Yeah, she decided first. So then I was like, oh, I know some people at Cornerstone. I'll go there.
Who did you know from Cornerstone?
Honestly, there's like 3 people, a couple years older than me.
So they'd gone there.
Yeah, and I was like, seems like a good place to be.
Where is it?
It's in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, yeah?
So it's only like 3 hours away. Felt like far enough, but then close enough I could go home.
Right.
Yeah, they had...
Did you love it?
I did. Yeah.
Did you? What's your degree in?
So it's family studies and social work with a ministry minor.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Family studies and social work. Were you planning on becoming like a social worker or working with disadvantaged folks or something to that effect?
That was before I got the call at Harvest to work here. I was going to work at a children's hospital.
Oh, wow.
Just thought it would be cool. I did an internship with like creative therapies. So kind of...
What is a creative therapy?
Yeah. Broadly, it's like kind of using art or like play or sensory to like kind of work through scenarios with kids who are in therapy or in long-term hospital care is basically just like a way to engage them that didn't feel like an 8-year-old sitting across from a 20-year-old. It was really cool. A lot of like meet them at their development level and kind of walk them through life and what their situation is.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you gave that up because you wanted to work, or you got offered a position at Harvest. What did you think of Harvest when did you first come?
Probably the first time that I ever came, probably early, maybe 2008, 2009.
Okay.
I thought it was cool.
What was your vibe?
It was definitely different than the Catholic church I went to.
I bet it was.
Yeah. I remember thinking like, okay, this is like really big. This isn't a warehouse. But I loved my friends who brought us, and I was like, they love it. So it seems like a cool place to be. Met a lot of cool people. I liked it.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So did you get involved in like the young adult stuff or anything like that, or did you just go to church on weekends?
Pretty much just went to church for a while, and then we got pretty involved in student ministry in high school.
Okay. What were you doing? You leader?
No. I just hung out for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Did student ministry. What, did you just go during the student? You weren't in college, high school.
Yeah, so when I came back, I did an internship for a while, but it was just in the summer.
Okay.
Then came back and felt like I needed to do something in student ministry, so I kind of helped out here and there. I mean, I think I did snack a couple of times. Mainly just hung out. And then they were like, do you want to be an intern in the summers? And I was like, okay.
Ashlyn, what is the best thing about student ministry at Harvest Bible Chapel in 2022?
I think the best thing right now is I have like a pretty close relationship with a lot of our students that kind of been here a long time. I think watching them invite friends in to this space has been really cool. To see them like leverage their teen years for Jesus in a world that they could be choosing other things is really cool.
Yeah.
I always tell them being a teenager in 2022 seems really scary and terrible. And
Why?
Just the world we're living in now. I mean, it was hard when I was in high school, but the things and the knowledge at their fingertips and the things people are telling them and the things they're watching, the things that they're hearing, and then seeing our students still choose that like Jesus is better than what the world has to offer is cool.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's my favorite thing right now.
What's the hardest thing?
The hardest thing, I think, now that I've been here for a while, is seeing students who were really on fire for the Lord kind of walk away for a bit.
Yeah.
I think I prayed a lot that they would come back, but just to say, look,
that's one
I'm
of
the
hardest parts that I've been in ministry for 24, 25 years.
Yeah.
And one of the hardest part in ministry is to see people walk away from the faith.
Yeah.
People oftentimes who were like you used the language on fire, or people just really committed people who were sitting in leadership meetings or things like that. And then they, one thing leads to another. Maybe they have a particular challenge in their own life, and didn't turn out like they expected, like everybody's life basically does. Very few people are like, I planned this.
Yeah.
But then they just respond to it with either anger or whatever, or they just stop attending church and just kind of fade away. And next thing you know, they're involved in other kinds of things. And it's very hard to deal with as a Christian, because you just, you love them and you want to see them make godly, eternal decisions, but they don't always. It's really difficult. Mm-hmm. Like I have a lot of people I worked with even in leadership development stuff. I used to say in classes, leadership development classes, some of you in this room are going to walk away from the faith.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, what? I say, yeah, seriously. No, you need to actually be aware that you think that by sitting in this leadership class or whatever, hey, I want to be in ministry, you feel like that's a thing that's going to keep you from it. The truth is you need to foster a healthy relationship with Jesus and actually love Jesus for Jesus. You know what I mean?
Totally. I do.
Instead of loving it for the community or loving it for the fun or loving it for the whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is this what you want to do?
Like long term?
Yeah.
I think so.
Because you're 27. Mm-hmm. Do you you want to be working in youth ministry?
I don't know if youth ministry is maybe like the long haul, but I see myself in ministry, I think. I really love doing creative things, and I feel like Tommy, my boss, has given me a lot of opportunity to kind of...
Tommy's your boss?
He sure is. Yeah, I have two bosses.
He's somebody's boss?
I know. Like 12 of us, maybe more. But yeah, he's kind of given me a lot of freedom to kind of figure out what I like to do, and so I think I could always do student ministry, maybe just in a different way.
Yeah. But no desire outside of that at that current point? At
this current point, no. I think maybe be fun to use my degree like in an official way somewhere down the road, but I do feel like I use a lot of the tools I was given in college in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you would, right? Because you're working in especially family ministry stuff and your minor was in minister. But seriously, isn't everybody every youth minister, youth pastor, youth worker these days kind of has to have a little bit of social worker in them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're doing so much counseling and trying to figure out all the ins and outs of kids and their lives. Biggest thing that high school kids face right now. Biggest challenge to their faith.
Biggest challenge. I think it's probably what the world is offering them.
Which is?
Money and fame and...
So kind of the same stuff that... Because some people will be encouraged... I'm not encouraged. It's terrible that it's still the same case. But, like you could have said that 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That it's still the same draw. Mm-hmm. It's just a little fancier now. Do you know what I mean? And more accessible. I think a lot of the sexual stuff is more accessible.
For sure.
And real questions nowadays about... Yeah.
They have a lot of people saying a lot of things to them that makes them question...
Yeah, reality and and what's true and can I actually believe this Bible? Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? Yeah. Especially in the face of a world that is seriously questioning what it is that they're trying to hold to. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Ashlyn, what's something about you that we would be surprised to know? When I have met you, the word demure comes to mind. Do you know what I mean by demure?
No.
It's it's not a negative saying. It's just somebody who's reserved.
Really? You think
yes.
That?
And so that's the thing. Everyone tells me that you're not reserved. Yeah. And yet I think you're reserved.
Yeah.
So that means that either I'm that intimidating or that there are a lot of people out there who wouldn't know the real Ashlyn if you just had a few, just got to know her. So tell me something about Ashlyn that I don't know.
Okay.
And that lots of people maybe don't know.
Yeah, I think it takes a while to crack me open, but once I'm comfortable, I feel like
you just bleed everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that egg covers all of that stuff.
I forgot who told me this one time, but they said that I was like a pistachio. Sometimes it's really easy to crack open, and then sometimes you get the one where it's like, you can't crack it open. But I think something that's surprising about me, I'm not afraid of being in front of crowds or anything. Okay. I've done many dance competitions.
Whoa.
Not like official, but like if there's like a dance circle somewhere, I'm like, sure, why not? I don't mind being the center of attention.
Are you a good dancer?
No, but I think
Ashlyn,
that's what's fun.
I would actually love to see some Ashlyn dancing.
Yeah, there's sadly there's lots of content out there on We Are Harvest students and stuff.
Okay, what's your favorite dance move?
I wouldn't say that there's
you do the Running Man, don't you?
No,
you don't have any dance moves. You just move to the music.
Yeah, people
no practice.
Tell me that I just look like pretty chaotic up there, but you can't look away.
It's like a train wreck.
Yeah, it kind of is. I think that's what surprises people. I'm just like, I really don't care. I mean, I spend most of my time with 12 to 18-year-olds, so
that is actually a remarkable thing, though, because I'm pretty comfortable in front of people, but when I go to dances or like weddings and stuff, I can't do it.
Really?
Just because it is like the barrier to me. Like I can't. Listen, I could tell you stories about the most embarrassing things that have happened to me, but I cannot get in front of people and dance.
Wow.
I wouldn't do it. I know.
I think you just got to try it more.
No, I shouldn't.
I think you should.
No. Ashlyn, have you seen me? Like it's generally, no.
I think it would be really fun.
Nobody wants to see any of that jiggling. Right? So, okay, anything else? There's got to be other things that we don't know about Ashlyn.
I've always thought it'd be fun to be a stand-up comedian.
Okay.
Give
me your best joke.
Okay, see, that's my problem is I don't have a lot of jokes. I just feel like my life is a series of like random unfortunate things that I just talk about. Like if you should follow me on Instagram because,
I do post a lot of shameless plug.
I do post a lot of like random things on my stories and posts of just like, this happened today.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't really care. I think my misfortunes are funny for people, and so I just lean into that.
Okay. Good, but no canned jokes.
Not really.
Just the general. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe I shouldn't be a stand-up comedian because I don't have jokes.
No, because that's usually a part of it.
Welcome to my weird life or something.
Maybe you could be an Instagram comedian. Yeah. An Instagram stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
You probably are actually because you get people to follow you. How many people follow you on Instagram?
Oh, I mean, it's not a lot. It's under 1,000. But
is that?
I have committed followers. They reply to my stories.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I try to keep it real.
What is the number of Instagram followers that makes you like happy? Not you, but I mean in general. If I was like a high school kid.
I feel like they like to hit over 2,000 these days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, students are really into the number these days. So when I tell them I don't really care, they're like, oh, have you seen how many followers I have? I'm like, I really don't care.
Wow.
I'm just there to follow your page and see your life. So.
Yeah. Or at least their best representation of their life. Yeah. Okay, so I was sitting behind these ladies. I went to a soccer match in Vancouver, British Columbia. So the Whitecaps play for the MLS. League, anyway. So I was sitting behind them with a couple of my friends, and these two women, they were with their, I don't know, boyfriends or husbands or whatever, but the ladies were sitting right close to each other, and they'd had a lot of work done on their faces. They spent the entire time taking pictures of themselves and then trying to post them online. And most of the ones that they took pictures of, they threw them away, and then they take it again, and then they throw it away, and then they take it again, and they threw it away, like different poses. It was one of the most interesting things. I don't even remember the soccer game at all. We just had a greatest time watching these ladies do this, and I was like, wow, that takes some work, man. Yeah, but I think you start thinking about how many people on their Instagram stuff. But I'm assuming you're not like that.
I hope not.
Is Instagram the social media feed that you're right into?
I think so. I think it's my favorite.
Not Twitter? You don't want to tweet?
Okay, I used to be on Twitter. I thought it was really fun.
Until
the
politics happened.
Yeah. It was just kind of not fun anymore. So I was like, I still have a profile. I'll check in occasionally. Yeah. I have some friends I like to follow because they like retweet funny stuff.
Yeah.
But now I put all the funny tweets on Instagram now.
Yeah, you're into it for the humor.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. So, Ashlyn, it's great having you at Harvest Bible Chapel. You've been here much longer than I have. Mm-hmm. And it's good to know that you enjoy it. Has there been a point in time, I mean, the last few years have been a bit of a challenge for some of the staff around here. Was there a point in time that you thought, I don't know if I'm going to stick around?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think so.
And then you met me, and you said, I'm staying forever.
Definitely.
Wow, that wasn't really convincing, Ashlyn.
No, it was. I do have fun on Sunday mornings listening to you. So,
but yeah, you're planning on, you've been here for 12 years, is that what you said?
Attending for 12, on staff for almost 5.
Wow.
Yeah. There was a point, I think, maybe in the last 2.5 years-ish, when just a lot of the people closest to me here, both members and staff, went on to the next thing. That was hard. Yeah. I would say right now, probably 6 of the people I'm closest to in the whole entire world who used to be here doing ministry next to me are gone. Doing ministry elsewhere, which is cool to see them doing that, but
it's still hard, right?
Yeah.
It's hard when you
see them thriving, and I feel like I am too, but it's also like we talk a lot about, I think there's a lot of things of grief, but also grieving what you thought your life was going to be is interesting.
I think that's one of the biggest, it's interesting you mentioned that. I when I've talked to people in general, especially younger people, that's usually what I tell them. Your life's not going to turn out like, I don't want to rain on your parade, but like your life's not going to turn out how you expect it to.
Yeah.
I think if you have eyes of grace, you will look back and be thankful that's the case.
Yeah.
Because you really don't know what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of people who get very frustrated by that, right?
Oh, yeah.
That your life doesn't turn out like you planned.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not able to transition well, it's difficult to manage that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So when your friends leave or church has difficulties or whatever, everybody kind of just, especially when it comes to the church, because the church is like an institution that if everything else is going wrong, you're like, these Christian people, this shouldn't be going wrong, Yeah. And then when it does, it just crushes your heart in many ways. Yeah.
Definitely.
So, Ashlyn, I'm going to ask you a couple fast questions here at the end. Speed round, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so a whole bunch of... I do these right off the cuff, right?
Okay,
so the first one was going to be your first kiss, but that's not the answer. That's not the one. I totally checked it, and now I said it out loud, so it's not been checked.
Oops.
Okay, first job.
I worked at Carson's. It's a big department store. Hated it. Terrible.
What did you do?
It was supposed to be a seasonal job, and they ended up putting me in like the Mrs. section. So like a lot of women were coming to get their mother of the bride dresses, and I was 16, and they were like, "How does this look?" And I'm like, "Good." And I wanted them to be confident, but some of these ladies pick some bad stuff.
But you were like, no, it looks good on you.
Yeah. Oh, I was always super kind, but it was just like I try to redirect them.
Okay, I'm totally interrupting your speed round.
Okay, it's okay.
You ready for this? So when I was young, I needed to get a job. I was in high school, and I needed to get a job for just around Christmas time. Nordstrom's, Nordstrom's, that's from Seattle.
Okay.
So you could go to Nordstrom's and be a seasonal worker for Christmas season. So I went to Nordstrom, and they made me a gift wrapper, which is not a good idea. But they had boxes. All it was basically you build the box. You learn how to put the little light paper, whatever that paper is, over the thing with little stamp that says Nordstrom on it or whatever, and then you close the box. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to learn how to make bows though.
Okay.
So listen, one day I show up. Okay, normally I'm just wrapping stuff. I gift wrap. They put
all day long?
Well, yeah, but they put the people in different departments. So usually I was in the, I don't know, like men's belts or whatever section.
Yeah.
Well, one day they didn't have anybody to be in the women's lingerie section.
Oh, no.
And they put me, the 17-year-old boy.
It's like we're going to put Jeff there.
In the women's lingerie section. So I am not kidding. I'm having to wrap lingerie
Oh no.
for men
Yeah.
who were buying it for their wife or whoever else
Yeah.
at this at Nordstrom.
It's unfortunate.
We didn't make any eye contact, me and the other guys, at all.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
It was one of the funnier moments when people ask me the question, what's the weirdest job you've done? I'm always like, yeah, that
That's
one.
it.
I've done some weird jobs, but that one was the one. So yes. What's the name of the department store that you were in?
It was called Carson's. I don't
Carson's.
know that it exists anymore.
Did you ever work for any fast food?
Never.
Never.
Never worked fast food.
Okay. What is your favorite band?
My favorite band is Jonas Brothers.
Jonas Brothers. Okay, if I had to add a Christian band, what's your favorite Christian band?
Oh.
Is there such a thing?
I know, right?
Come on, out with it.
Probably Elevation Worship.
Ooh.
I love 'em.
Elevation worship.
Yeah.
I noticed you didn't say vertical.
I know. I love Vertical, but
oh, now you're covering your tracks, aren't you?
yeah. Just felt like people would
Wow.
expect that from me, so I do like Elevation.
Elevation worship.
Yeah.
Okay, your favorite place you've ever been in your entire life?
Honestly, it's Camp Harvest.
Really?
I know. Yeah, nothing compares.
That's amazing.
My grandparents take us on vacation every year, which is pretty sweet. But I'm missing camp this summer for a family vacation, and I'm like, Grandpa, what about camp? And he was like, what's so special about camp? And I'm like, I don't know. It's a special week every summer.
What was your first car?
It was a Saturn something. It was 2 doors. It was horrible.
Dude, remember the Saturn? They don't have those anymore.
Yeah.
It's probably a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Yeah.
That's probably why we got it so cheap.
What do you drive now?
Right now I drive a Ford Fiesta.
Well, Ashlyn, you haven't really moved up too much on the...
You know, it has really great gas mileage.
There you go. That's what people say when their car's horrible. Look,
Yeah.
it's great gas mileage.
I didn't choose it. My sweet dad did.
God bless him.
I know, truly.
Do you know how to fix a car?
No. I'm helpless.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how they work.
There we go.
Ashlyn, it's just such a delight to talk to you. Thank you
too.
so much for your service to the church. I mean, it's awesome. And thanks for being here for as long as you have and fighting through some more difficult times. I pray that the days ahead will be rich and blessed for you and all of us. Anyway, you guys can see Ashlyn at the Rolling Meadows campus.
Yep.
She will be wandering around in the hallways. And
Wandering.
If you see her, you can get into conversations about her dancing and see if she'll be able to do it for you right there.
I will.
What's your favorite dance song?
Probably something by Justin Bieber. Just gets you going. I know.
You're so young. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
See the rest of you guys next, or talk to the rest of you guys next time.
Woo!